What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of Respect the Game podcast. My name is Edward, named after a trilogy, that being my pops. Shout out to my mother, grandmother for helping raise me too. Please make sure you go follow at Emcstats for all your up-to-date high school, pro, and collegiate sports coverage. We'll not disappoint. We'll keep boys and the ladies up to date on all that's going on in the beautiful sports world. This episode is very special to I guess as we still in the first quarter of the year. Very special episode because I believe this is the first episode of the new year 2023 where all four of us are actually on. Took a while to get here, but we're here. We have full strength, ladies and gentlemen. What is a podcast without your brethren?
Big brother Iron Man tapping in, Shine Hard Izzo. That's Twitter, Instagram, Cash App, any charismatic social media platform that you care to follow me on. But it's only those two, and I refuse to make another. Tap in, man. We got great things for.
Yo, this is the host with the most that blows the most smoke, Black Peace, the rap plug, the hip hop plug, the one with the burgundy beard. Let's go. Be sure to go check out Talkin Smoke on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Be sure to subscribe. Let's go.
Good afternoon, beautiful people. It is the one and only Sedacious Miles. You can go follow me at I am Sedacious, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Take it away, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Happy to get to it. So to start it off, this is the last day of January, about to get the month of February kicked off. February brings forth the NBA All-Star Weekend. This year it will be in Utah. Last week they had the starters announced for the NBA All-Star game this year. And I guess we could say a bit of a discrepancy in who the starters are. So start off with the Eastern Conference. We got Giannis, no argument there. KD, no argument there. Kyrie Irving, no argument there. Donovan Mitchell, Mr. 71, 72.
No argument at all.
No argument there. Jason Tatum, everybody's looking for him to, continue his revenge tour and get back to the NBA Finals. No argument there. Then none other. Do we need to say his name? Yes, because you always have to put some respect on his name. 15 plus straight NBA All-Star. LeBron James, Lebanon. No argument there. Stephen Curry, come on, no argument there. Luka Brasi, absolutely no argument there. My MVP. The Joker, two-time reigning MVP. No argument there. Oh, you could argue there because I know somebody. The reason I'm not going to argue Jokic is because of who I'll save an argument for, that being Zion Williamson being named a starter. Gentlemen, if I had to pick an argument to say get him out of here, it would be Zion Williamson. Does anybody contest that, or do y'all have somebody else y'all rather see get up out of the starting lineup?
I definitely have a problem with maybe one or two of those, and I didn't even realize I had a problem with two until you kind of read it out. But Zion has only played in a handful of games this year. Though he's been great in those games he's played, not sure if it warrants him to be a starter. But man, if anybody paid attention to that Nuggets and Sixers matchup that happened over the weekend, you saw Joel Embiid absolutely take Jokic to school. He dropped him off. He picked him up. He asked him how his day was, and he might have got him some McDonald's on the way home. It was a complete fatherhood moment. He had his way with Jokic. Jokic could not hold him in the slightest. He got inside, curls off pick and roll, pin downs, transition threes, spot up threes, post game, left shoulder, right shoulder, between cross, mid range, take it all the way to the basket. It's a travesty that man isn't starting in the All-Star game. And I think that was the first game post votes, I want to say. So he definitely sent a very strong message. I want to say he had 45 and almost 45 and 20, 45 and 18. So
whose place is he going to take, though?
As a starter?
47 and 18 to be exact.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was close. So I actually slighted him a couple points.
47 and... Hold on, Rook. Or go. You go. Rock out, Dash. Just rock out.
I'm just asking who do you let go? Because are they keeping it strictly Western Conference, Eastern Conference? Because
that was gonna be my argument towards Izzo. It's just like I feel like I feel like Isaac the Joel debate is the Joel debate or the Joel substitution. I feel like it was coming from the perspective of like, yo, get Jokic up out of here because Joel just destroyed him. But if we're judging up along the parameters of East and West, it's just like he has no jurisdiction over Jokic. If we're talking about strictly who are going to be the starters for the West and who are going to be the starters for the East. Because if you say Joel needs to be in there, I think the conversation then says who you going to remove out of the East as starters.
Can't take Giannis or KD out. You know, I ain't gonna lie. Tatum might have to come take a seat, bro.
There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah.
He might.
Yeah.
He might.
Honestly, me personally,
averaging 31.
Just me personally.
He's averaging 31
on
the season. That's tough.
He averaging 31, and another thing, I mean, and he's hasn't missed as many games as Joel.
That's true. But
who's the 5 on the East again?
The 5 man.
It's supposed to be
5 man.
It's Giannis, KD, Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum.
I didn't even hear a true 5 out there.
I would have to say like KD. Sadly, I mean, sheesh. I don't feel confident saying that, to be honest with you.
Slide Giannis. Jason Tatum, sit down. Well, me personally, not Jason Tatum.
Bro, 31.
I say Donovan Mitchell. I say slide Donovan Mitchell.
I can't sit Jason because of the 31, but KD and the only argument against KD would be
Donovan Mitchell.
The only argument against KD would be he's missed so many games that's starting to compile, and it's starting to the amount of games he's missed is becoming larger and larger as the weeks go on. I'm not even sure if he'll be eligible to play for the All-Star game. Hopefully he's back before then. But the only reason I could entertain KD being left off the starters list is because just the amount of games he's played, and one can make that same argument for Zion. But I think Joel Embiid being the only true 5 in the East in regards to just all-star starters, you got to start them just off of that alone.
Yeah, Joel,
do it all 5. You know,
Joel has played 37 games this season, and is averaging 33, 10, and 4. KD has played 39 games this season, and he's averaging 29, 6, and 5. It's just like it's what like.
Well, this is an issue that has to be figured out because the way the NBA is transforming, man. Like these numbers are going to start being like routine. Like it's going to have to be a little bit more than just numbers at a certain point, or flip flop. Like it's going to be tighter because I see players that aren't starting that nobody even thinks about, like Domantas Sabonis and Randall, that are getting honorable mentions for starting, and it's just like their numbers are ridiculous and their play is ridiculous. Like, and it's becoming norm and nobody cares about it. Like it's. I'm saying like the competition and the numbers are starting to get more.
Is about
Julius Randle is averaging 24 and 10 or 24 and 11. Though those numbers are good, I don't think that just screams all-star starter, especially for where he is in the East. You're not going to put him over Kevin Durant. You're not going to put him over Giannis. You're not going to put him over Joel Embiid.
He
played before. So
not to mention though he's, been progressing, like we're talking about from start, out the gate of the season to now. And we know Julius Randle can be streaky at times. He can have pockets where he's very high. He can have pockets where he's very low. Though if he's really killing like that and he's in a market such as like New York, I feel like if he was like really on a tear like that, you would like to believe New York fans would do right and make sure he gets in there. But I mean, it's Julius Randle trying to compete against Giannis, trying to compete against KD, Kyrie, who was the Jason Tatum. Like Julius Randle doesn't have anything about his career or his accolades that equate to those guys. If you want to make him duke it out with and I can't even see him duking it out there with Spider Donovan Mitchell. Maybe you can give him a shot there, but before we even
get that's not really how they do the voting. So it's truly dependent upon position, right? They just do front court and back court, right? So a backcourt player wouldn't have any dealings or any correlation back to the front court player. So we can't quite literally bump a backcourt player because we want to insert a front court player. We'd have to take out another front court player who plays a similar position in order to kind of ixnay them from the list. So just to put that out there.
Right.
They do separate it by front court and back court.
And because of that, Joel had to come up a little short. But honestly, I like Zion.
So I guess if we're talking for the East, if we're looking at the East and we're talking about like that position of like 4 or 5 front court, back court, the East front court would be KD and Giannis. As to why Joel got snubbed, because your front court is Kyrie, JT, and Donovan Mitchell.
The backcourt.
Your backcourt. Your backcourt.
The backcourt is Donovan Mitchell and Kyrie, because Jason is still part of the front court.
Oh yeah, your 1 and 2 is your backcourt. 3 on is your front court. So
yeah, so
he's trying to compete against JT, KD, and Giannis. Something all 3 of those guys have in common in terms of like the statue and popularities. They've all gotten to the finals before. Maybe your notoriety gets up there if people continue to see on a more national stage like the finals, Joel. Maybe
Donovan Mitchell been to the finals?
No, but he did drop 71 points this year, which is
the reason I said
relativeness. Okay.
No, the reason I said KD, Giannis, and JT is because they're specifically in the front court where Joel falls under the front court, who have all been to the finals at least. Transitioning over to the West. I'm all for getting Zion out of here for Sabonis. I think fans are just like Zion. You kind of you go through your injury hiatus and like we just want to see you, bro. Like maybe obviously I feel like to a degree, if you think about it, if he hasn't been playing, he's not gonna like come out and play for All-Star just because y'all voted him in. But yeah, I don't think anybody can like roll their eyes if you like, get Zion out of here for Sabonis. Like we talk about the greatest ability is availability. That hasn't been Zion's strength. That hasn't been his strength.
So Sabonis is a better player than Zion Williamson?
I'd say no. If Zion never played, if he played more games, then it'd be clear. But as in just availability, I mean, Zion is who you want on your team. You want Sabonis because of availability. Period.
But there's a bit of popularity that goes in the All-Star game too. You really want to put fans in the stands as well. So who's really coming to see? Like I feel like Zion sells more tickets than Sabonis.
So great point. So the NBA has a breakdown in regards to how the voting is, how it's orchestrated and how it's divvied up. So
and the fan vote is that
is a certain percentage.
Weight. Yeah,
I don't think that's the case.
For the starters, because for the starters, and I'll research it as I'm saying it, but the starters, the fans hold the most weight for the starters. The coaches and the peers hold the most weight for the reserves.
Right. I mean, he's really good, but he ain't a monster. Like people want to put the monster on the ticket, so people will come out. That's just marketing at that point.
I just feel some type of way by it because I'm just like, good Lord, like when can a team actually figure you out to a certain point? Because you're so injured, like it is kind of a disadvantage of his all-stardomness to a certain extent.
Let me read this real quick from the NBA Communications. Starters for the 2020-23 NBA All-Star Game were selected by fans, current NBA players, and a media panel. Fans accounted for 50% of the vote to determine the starters, while players and media accounted for 25% each. After all votes are tallied, players were ranked in each conference by position, guard, and front court, with each of the three voting groups. Each player's score was calculated by averaging his weighted rank from the fan votes, the player votes, and the media votes. The two guards and the three front courts with the best score in each conference were named NBA All-Star Game starters.
It makes sense now. Makes all the sense in the world. And it's not even nothing to be upset about. If that's the scale, that makes all the sense in the world. And I mean, that's what makes the All-Star Game though. That's what makes the All-Star Game. The media, the fans, like they're involved in the important parts of it. And I mean,
yeah. So I believe the coaches are what 25%. Fan vote is 25%, and then
the fans all together. Coaches and media personnel are 25% a piece, and the fans are 50%. But
who's the other 25 players?
No, I mean we'll go back, make sure I'm hold on real quick.
Now you say 25 for media, 25 for coaching, and then 50% for
fans account for 50. Fans account for 50% of the vote to determine the starters, while players and media account for 25% each for the starters. But so if you click, so I would say if you click on here, as you can see, so talking about talking about Joel, so talking about popularity, right? Sedacious. Giannis got 6.7 million fan votes. KD got 6.5 million fan votes. Jason Tatum got 5.2 million fan votes. And Joel Embiid got 4.9 million fan votes. So he fell short, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so
what was the fan votes for Donovan Mitchell?
D. Mitchell, hold on.
My boy caught a buzz in Cleveland.
Where you at, Mitchell?
See, that's the thing. When you have that much competition,
hold on.
A certain conference, you can't be the bad guy and expect to make the Eastern Conference. Okay, that makes a lot of sense too for Joel. He's a bad guy. He's not gonna make it. Because if one thing, Philadelphia is a bad.
And mind you,
that
what I just said. Sorry, D. What I had just said. Giannis, KD, Jason Tatum, Joel. Those are like the stats according to like all front court position players in the East. So Joel fell right at 4. You asked me, Sedacious, where did Donovan Mitchell fall? So for all the guards in the East, Kyrie got 4.46 million fan votes, and Donovan Mitchell got 4.44 million fan votes. So they was kind of like right there, 4.46, 4.44 million for Kyrie and Donovan Mitchell. Jaylen Brown was at 2.4 million. James Harden was at 2.2 million fan votes. DeMar DeRozan. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan was at 1.2 million. Trae Young was at 1.6 million.
They need to work on their PR.
And the thing about it is,
those are the only players with over 1 million votes in the front for the backcourt in the East. Kyrie, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, James Harden, and DeMar DeRozan and Trae Young.
That sound about right though, as I'm just
When you're the
hearing.
best, you can be the bad guy. Ask Kyrie Irving. It don't matter about how much people perceive you or how you look in the media. People gonna mess with you, or you're gonna get them votes.
Yeah, when you
But
got an
like I said,
undeniable game, it's it definitely propels
Translate.
it propels your
Yeah,
case, and
he's
because
not
especially
injury
with
prone
Kyrie.
technically.
you put him up against people, and it's like, how can I not pick Kyrie? I'm not stupid.
So going over to that's interesting. But going over to the Western Conference front court, you had LeBron James, and we're just talking about fan votes. You had Braun with 7.4 million fan votes, Jokic right behind Braun with 5.4 million fan votes, Zion Williamson at 4.2 million fan
Gang,
votes.
gang, gang,
Uh,
gang.
Anthony Davis had 4.3 fan votes. And we're just talking fan votes. Obviously, like it's 50%, but like it'll like you could, jump ahead of somebody with the media and the player votes or whatever. So yeah. So again, front court for the Western Conference, Braun at 7.4 million, Jokic at 5.4 million, Zion. Did I say Zion again? Or did I say Braun at 7.4 million, Jokic at 5.4 million, Zion at 4.2 million. Anthony Davis came in at 4.3 million, even though he had more fan votes than Zion. He lost in terms of the media votes and
Of course.
the player votes. So that's why Zion went ahead of him, right? Sedacious, you talk about ticket sales, and you feel like people are going to show more. People are going to fill up the stands more for Zion than Sabonis. So again, Zion at 4.2 million fan votes, whereas Sabonis only received 800,000 fan votes.
My heart goes out to you, my boy. My heart goes out to you. I know you put in that work though.
Western Conference guards. Just to talk about the greatness, even though like how fantastic Luka has been, you still can't, beat the reigning 3-time, 4-time NBA champion, greatest shooter in the world, and Stephen Curry. So for guards in the Western Conference, and talking about the fan votes specifically, Steph had 5.8 million fan votes, and whereas Luka had 5.5 million fan votes. Right behind them two guys, you had Ja at 2.2 million. Then you got Shea at 2.1 million. Westbrook had 1.1 million. Clay had 1.4 million. And those are the only players with fan votes. Hold on, wait, with 1 point. Yeah, it looks like all the guards with 1.1 million, with over 1 million fan votes.
Bro, talk about being a GOAT where you got 2 million more votes than the next person in the NBA All-Stars. You said LeBron got 7 million. I ain't heard nobody over 5 million.
Yeah. LeBron. Yeah, Braun has 7.
Steph got 5.
And Giannis was right behind. Braun was at 7 million. Then Giannis and KD both was at 6 million. But yeah, man. Let us know in the comments who would you trade out for the All-Star game. And granted, obviously to a degree, the All-Star game is about who's going to put on that show. And if you think about a show, obviously fans' minds are going to naturally knee-jerk reaction. Zion, can I get Zion?
Charles Barkley said it best. It's like if me and Shaq had a baby. And I was like, bro, that's exactly it. That boy played bully ball.
Yeah. Man, so NBA All Star, obviously it marks the halfway mark of the NBA season, but we are far, far, far past the halfway mark in the NFL season as the playoffs are slowly wrapping up. Just finished the conference championship, AFC and NFC games, and we have our Super Bowl matchup of the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. But before we dive into all of that, man, how did we get here? It was quite the road to get to the Super Bowl. And I'm gonna set this up for Sedacious. Know it's a new year. People haven't heard Sedacious speak eloquently. Well, I guess Sedacious to a degree. You do consider yourself to not be like most Cowboy fans. You're a realist to a degree. Uh, Cowboys, they start their playoff run off against the Bucks. Obviously, the Milwaukee Bucks. They start their playoff run up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who a team they were far superior than, but it's the playoffs. Thomas Patrick, Edward Brady. How do the Cowboys mess this up, right? But they don't mess it up. Dak Prescott has, some may argue, the best game of his entire career. One could argue a bit fool's gold because it's like, hey, it's the Bucks. They were trash this year. That is what y'all were supposed to do. Then you get the matchup of all matchups, going up against San Fran. It was San Fran, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going up against San Fran, and an extremely, extremely winnable game. Though Pollard went out, but an extremely winnable game. A chance for Dak to be Dak. And Dak wasn't Dak. Dak wasn't Dak. Y'all lost a very winnable game. Um, I don't know if I shared that. I don't know if I shared this in a group chat, but I remember talking about it after the game, and the Dallas Cowboys basically from their official team organization Twitter account basically saying, "Hey, Dak threw interceptions. The Cowboys lost a very winnable game." Paraphrase. Where does Sedacious stand and right now as it relates to the Cowboys and having Dak Prescott as your quarterback for the foreseeable future? And what is the post? What can you tell the people about the post of the Cowboy Nation as a whole, considering how this season went and ended?
Um, Honestly, I don't know. I feel like get ready to be in a slump phase, me personally, because we're gonna have to look for either a young quarterback or a quarterback that could be dependable, a good dependable game manager at this point, because it's starting to seem like the when the stakes are high, that can't deliver, right? Like you said about the Buccaneers game, everybody kind of expected the Cowboys to kind of run through them because we got the defense. When you got Dak Prescott not being able to support and play complementary football with the defense, then we're gonna lose every time. The defense did the best that they could do. You can't throw two interceptions and expect to win. That's just how that goes. But me personally, I've been saying that Dak is not elite for quite some time now, and it just kind of showed itself. And so now all of the Cowboy fans who are in denial finally see, what I'm saying, hey, like the person that y'all think, our leader of the future, what I'm saying, is like he might not be that good. He might be middle of the pack, which is what I thought, you know, a few seasons back. And that's just how I feel about it. So if we can get Aaron Rodgers, maybe, just maybe, possibly. The defense is good. A few tweaks in the defense. Get Tony Pollard some help. Ship Ezekiel Elliott out. He's run his course. He's done. And yeah, we'll be in rebuild mode. Like try to get in rebuild mode as soon as possible. That way we're not in and stuck in the rut for so long. So I'm ready, especially with the emergence of Jalen Hurts and what AJ Brown and that defense is doing over there. My hats is off to the Philadelphia Eagles, and it's looking like if we don't shape up, man, they're gonna run it for a while. So we'll see.
Darden. Okay, I didn't know he was coming back, Izzo. Because I had a question for you. All right, so I asked this question to Isaac because I know he's a very thought provoking, introspective person. On a lot of things, but specifically with football, by far. Izzo, from your perspective, you being a good football mind, why do you think there's this deep desire, or do you feel like there's this deep desire for people to want Dak Prescott to be so good? Do you think that's an overall thing from like the football community, or like us as supporting like Dak as like a black quarterback, or do you feel like that's just like a cowboy thing?
I, I personally think it's a culmination of all those things, right? You have a few things going for you. Number one, you have a genuine and authentic story in regards to your genetics, your makeup, family background. You know, you losing your mom to cancer, um, you being able to persevere through that. You losing your brother uh, to mental health and suicide. You persevere and you kind of power through that. And then not only that, you play for the most you know historic franchise in all the sports and the Cowboys, right? Um, so you play for America's team and you're a black quarterback. So people are naturally going to root for you or look for you to be successful just based off of those things, right? You being a fighter, you being someone who continuously perseveres through, trying, very extremely trying, you know, um, life situations that we all are faced with at different intervals. So I believe it's just a multitude of things in which why people want them to be successful. And I don't know if anyone goes into a season and just wishes anyone not to be successful, unless you hate a team, right? But nobody's going in there praying on your downfall. I would hope not anyway. But I think Dak Prescott he's a product of. I play quarterback for the franchise who's gonna year in and year out have the most media buzz around it, just due to the expectations of old, right? Of quarter centuries past of success, right? So I have to hold up that mantle to be the next great Cowboys quarterback. But then also, I'm a black man, and people. We live in a society now where it's very much so popular to root for black people as a whole, no matter what walk of life that we're in, just due to the growing disparities that we faced as a people, um, being video related, whether that be police brutality, social injustices, um, you know, injustices with the legislation system, anything along those lines. But um, I just think Dak is a byproduct of that. And can that be too much of pressure for one person to more so bear? Possibly. But quite honestly, I, if you asking me, I just don't think he had the help this year. I think the receiving core was lacking, to say the very least. Um, Michael Gallup is not a true number two receiver. I'm not too sure of that. He's a definitive number three. If you have Michael Gallup as your third option, I think you have a great receiving core. But I do think they're missing another piece within that space there. But one can say, hey, if you have a great enough quarterback, you should be able to overcome that deficiency. So to answer your question, I think that's why Dak, people root for him. He's a hard guy to root against, man. You like him as a person. Though he's had some pretty wayward comments in regards to different situations with police brutality to black people and maybe some shocking stances and viewpoints on some stuff, maybe even related to the flag and the standing of the flag. But, it's just hard not to root for the guy in regards to what he's gone through. So I just think from that alone, people kind of root for him.
Right on, right on. Black Peace, the playoffs. you always seem to have a against the grain perspective on just a unique eye for things. What has stood out to you during this playoff stretch without going towards the Super Bowl, but thus far throughout the playoffs and
I'm like looking on that Joe Burrow. On that Joe Burrow.
what is kind of just caught your attention, player, team, whatever, through this run of the NFL playoffs?
To watch out for brains over brawn. Fool's gold of teams, just like the Minnesota Vikings. Kind of like the Bills, even though I was pushing for them at the beginning of the year, they kind of had some fool's gold to a certain extent. And just noticing like the real boss dogs like Kansas City and the Eagles, San Fran, like, and just paying attention. I got like a little bamboozled between a lot of teams this year. I've noticed, and it's like I was looking at a lot of brawn, a lot of, oh man, they look at the record and look how they beat teams, but I didn't pay attention to like, okay, these aren't tactical teams. They aren't teams that are winning the most strategic way. They're winning because of either talent or just the matchup they had. So that's kind of what I learned between it. To be honest with you, man, I this is my fallback year in predicting and understanding the playoffs. I was shocked at a lot of things.
But Josh Allen wasn't looking too good.
Not at all. They was fool's gold for sure. They was, like I said, they came out in their first game, really the first month, looking like some boss dogs, and it was just like, nah, they head ain't quite there yet. If their head was there, they should have been able to figure out how to be more competitive in their loss against the Bengals. So,
in my opinion, I don't know if this is brought up enough. I think there is a drastic drop off between Stephon Diggs and the next best receiver. And I think it shows in critical parts of the season, especially late in the season in playoff situations. You don't have I don't know if Gabe Davis is a bona fide number two. I think he's shown flashes. He's shown flashes even his rookie year, just like he's shown flashes this past year, right? But it's just that it hasn't been consistent enough to say, okay, if Diggs is getting double teamed, we had over the top safety help, he's being shadowed all day. Can we go to you? Can we go to that well when we know we need a pivotal first down conversion or you need to be a red zone target, right? Because as he's known for now, he's just a bona fide splash play, deep threat, more so type of guy, spontaneously waiting to happen. And I think that offense is needing more than just a spontaneous deep play and or splash play from him. I'm thinking they need consistency in it. Can we get you to run everything else greatly?
Can we make you surgical? Can we make you surgical? Can we make you tactical? A word Darnell used, like within the offense to shred a defense.
Right, as opposed to you being a one or two trick pony.
Exactamundo.
I think their defense has covered a multitude of flaws, and as you saw throughout the year, that defense just kept taking hit after hit after hit, especially within the secondary. And even in the game itself, with Jordan Poyer and Tre'Davious White not being able to finish the game due to injury, and I think the wheels just more so kind of fell off from there. So I just think the Bills kind of have more holes than you would like for a championship caliber team to have. I think they need to address that in the off season. That being the secondary, and then just some help at receiver. So Josh has more weapons to go ahead and throw to, as opposed to him constantly having to either run from trouble or go to the well too many times with Diggs. You need more options on offense. Cole Beasley ain't gonna cut it. Shout out to
with all that talent.
What about Dawson Knox?
I like Dawson Knox, but Dawson Knox does not change life drastically for me as a Travis Kelce or a prime Rob Gronkowski would. And that's no disrespect to Dawson Knox. I think he's a very serviceable tight end. I think he's a good player. I don't think he, again, changed his life dramatically in the areas that we need it most. Good player. Is he changing my life? Probably not, as you can see.
If they trade Stephon Diggs, they done. They out of there.
I don't think they're trading Diggs, but I do think they need to add to their weapons, right? I think
My boy look angry.
But one thing I can say
50-50.
is somebody who I know whose dad has famously just stated that I'm smoking that Joe Burrow, dude sound like he can fix the hell out of a 96 Impala. Shout out to Twitter. I saw that somewhere. Love my people. But I do know somebody else across the pond in the AFC that his number one weapon left. And
Haven't missed the beat.
His offense was slated to take a precipitous drop off. They're not going to be as explosive. And they just end up having the number one offense, even still without Tyreek Hill. And that's Patrick, my homeboy, Mahomes.
I just want to add on to that. So what people are not going to do, and I've seen somebody trying to do this. At first, the litmus test was, can he do what he's been doing when Tyreek has left? He's proven that. And now I won't say it's heavy, but I see scattered showers. Oh, I mean, he got Travis Kelce. He's like, no.
Don't do that.
Don't do
really
that.
Seen that argument. I haven't really seen that.
Don't go there. I don't care if they gave it to your navigation. Don't disrespect Patrick Mahomes like that. Under no circumstances are y'all to disrespect Patrick Mahomes like that.
The man made it to the Super Bowl on one leg, literally. Saw it with my own eyes. I was there. I saw it.
He threw for like three something. He threw for like three something on one leg, bro. I'm
threw for 326, 2 touchdowns, and again, I won't even call it Brady-esque, man. The man, the lowest he's gone in the playoffs is the AFC Championship game since he has been the starter. He has not gotten less than that. So for that to be the expectation year after year after year, this is his 5th year starting. You have always taken us to the AFC Championship game where we've always had a chance to knock on the door of the Super Bowl. That is a feat in and of itself. That's like some LeBron James type territory when you say things of that nature and people willing to do certain things and live up to a certain level. You want to talk about holding yourself to a very high standard? Patrick Mahomes has done that, man. You want to talk about the guy is the epitome of, if I don't have it on my team, I will lift us and put us on my back, and I will take us there. Just follow me, follow my lead, and I'll get us there.
He put the team on their back, though.
Some people have that. Some people don't. He that guy, man.
All right, so I truly grew this season to respect and appreciate Kyle Shanahan's play calling. And go ahead, rock out.
Me too. Just me too.
I truly grew to respect and appreciate his play calling, bro. And here is what Kyle Shanahan's career has been in terms of him not getting over the mountaintop. That being the Super Bowl. So, Super Bowl against the Patriots, obviously, as the Falcons offensive coordinator, they lose the Super Bowl after being up 28-3. Then in the Super Bowl against who we just got to talking about, Patrick Mahomes, he's up 31. He's up 20-10 in the fourth quarter. Patrick Mahomes comes and wins his first Super Bowl 31-20. 2000 last year's NFC Championship, they're up 17-7 against the Rams. Rams come and win the game 20-17. Then this past week against they defeat the Cowboys. Then this past week against the Eagles. It literally, I mean, you could argue to say it took Kyle Shanahan losing 4 quarterbacks in one season for him to not reach the Super Bowl. I truly would have loved to see what Brock Purdy would have did up against the Eagles defense. No, they have a solid defense, but also feel like I would have liked to see Kyle Shanahan at full strength with just like a fighting chance. You bring in your fourth string quarterback. He go out with a concussion. Brock Purdy can't even throw the football. He may be the poster child again. He may be the poster child. Kyle Shanahan may possibly be the poster child of horseshoes and hand grenades. Because, bruh,
misfortune.
The misfortune, bruh. And it's almost as if though, like, you don't get no better than being up 28-3 in the Super Bowl.
What?
And since that, it's just been you up 20-10 in the fourth quarter. Nope, you still don't win the Super Bowl. You up 17-7 in the NFC Championship. Nope, you lose that. You don't go to the Super Bowl. And I mean, and this past week again against the Eagles, to lose all your quarterbacks throughout the course of the season, and then you lose your quarterback who you're on a hot streak with Brock Purdy. It's just the ultimate, like, man, it just may not be. Maybe it's just gonna make it that much sweeter if he eventually does. But as history shows, it don't look like this in the football guys. Their deck of cards to give him no Super Bowl.
In a dream scenario, what if he get Tom Brady by some miracle? Think it'll happen?
I don't think
no
he
year
would
past
want
this year.
No, I don't think he would want Tom Brady.
Teachability, absolutely right. You need teachable players.
Like
you need somebody that actually knows what they're doing.
I look at the type of offense he be running, and then the type of player and like Trey Lance that he goes out and get. I was like, I don't think he wants to have to conform his offense to like a Tom Brady style type player who isn't mobile.
Who do you think is his dream player that he needs? Who do you think that he really needs to be like, okay, no matter, like,
Lameezy.
If Kyle Shanahan got Lamar Jackson, that would actually be nuts. If somehow, some way, if Lamar Jackson can find his way to the 49ers, that's a Super Bowl champion if I ever saw one.
Lameezy. Oh my God.
That'd be extremely tough. Not
undeniable.
99.9% won't happen, but
that would be undeniable.
You talk about a complete roster from top to bottom, every
it's like
position.
Thanos getting the ring.
Yeah, that is like him getting the last Infinity Ring. Him getting the Power Stone, Time Stone, Space Stone, Lameezy Stone, Rosetta Stone,
Lameezy,
Rolling Stone. Man,
is there a Lamar Light? Is there a Lamar Light that he can settle for? That's the real question, because I feel like that's going to be an impossible thing. What do you think?
I would say that he possibly could have settled for. Obviously, it came with a lot of baggage at the time, but getting Deshaun when he was trying to get up out of Houston, possibly.
Yeah. Deshaun on the Niners.
What about Kyler Murray?
I mean, he just got a big contract in Arizona.
Yeah, so he ain't going no place.
It just isn't feasibly possible, but one can dream.
Yeah. One can dream. Yeah, man. All right. So no heavy. I say that, but it still may happen. No heavy in-depth analysis, into it, because we got it for next week to talk about leading up to the Super Bowl. Is it easy for y'all to root for Patrick Mahomes this Super Bowl run, considering he already has his Super Bowls, and considering, another Super Bowl will continue to add to his already first ballot Hall of Fame career? Or do you partially, as all of us, homegrown, thoroughbred, through and through, H-Town raised, find it slightly difficult to either root for Jalen Hurts considering who he's going up against in Patrick Mahomes, or like do you like kind of like not deal with your Houston bias, your Houston roots in terms of like rooting for Jalen Hurts and deciding to root for Patrick Mahomes? Not necessarily who you think gonna win, just who you're rooting for.
The Houstonian within me definitely roots for Jalen, but I ain't gonna lie, I'm a Patrick Mahomes fan, so I want to see Slime out there rock out and win. I do, especially with how much talk the Bengals were doing before the game. The Bengals actually set themselves up to lose. When you got the mayor talking trash, I'm like, that 99.9% of the time don't end good. You end up putting your foot in your mouth, and the other team end up you giving them so much ammunition. Chris Jones went out there and had a dominant day on the D line, and he won one-on-one every single opportunity that he got. And but anyway, man,
Izzo.
It's hard to root against the Golden Kid, the Golden Boy, the new Golden Boy of the NFL, man. Patrick Mahomes. He even got a Brady call that game, and I had some money on him too. So I'm like, you know what, Mahomes, I'll take that. I'll take that because I saw a couple calls. I'm like, oh, I only know one person that'll get a call like this, and I'm glad you one of them guys.
No, I was going to ask you about that. I was like, you seen the call, but like if you think about the call, it's just like. But before we get to the call, Dacius, Darnell, H-Town, Jalen Hurts, Patty Mahomes, like first ballot Hall of Famer, undeniable greatness. Like, where does y'all allegiance and rooting for the individual quarterback like reside currently?
Advil PM, baby, night.
I mean,
What like
I'm up in the
step of the
air. I would
NFL.
like to. I mean, I'm indifferent really because I would like to see Patrick Mahomes get another notch, but I would also like to see the hometown boy slash another black quarterback, get a championship as well. And so, and
He
then
he
it's
he
like,
is an Omega if that means anything to you alphas.
right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Nigga, big Q dog. So it'll just be fun to see either one of them win for real. To me.
Me personally, I would like to see Jalen Hurts win for every reason. I thought he has a better team right now, like out of like defense and offensive balance. I do know the Chiefs are who they are, but just like from a standpoint of that, but I like Hurts, man. Like I like his not quit attitude. Everybody know his college history about getting benched at the biggest game of his life and then bouncing back, and doing all his great achievements and still being able to surpass his person that that he got benched for. So man, I got to go with him, man. Go for the underdog, and he's been the underdog his whole life. So I look at him pulling it off. Me personally,
I think it's
respectfully.
too early for him to pull it off, but I do think he'll be back. I think him getting there just put the league on notice of, hey, I'm really that. I'm really him. I've arrived. I'm that guy in the NFC. All that 49er talk and all that other, Packer talk. Now it's a new man on campus, and y'all need to hear me. It's another JH in the world, and I ain't talking about James Harden. It's another JH, and I'm that guy. So from that perspective, I support it and I love it, and I love the whole underdog story in regards to nobody believing in him being a second round pick, him still when he came out, Carson Wentz was still, highly regarded and still, thought of a quarterback that can lead a team to a Super Bowl. As it stands now, Carson Wentz has dramatically fell from grace. Um, he's now even being pondered and wondered if can he even be a viable starter in the league. And Jalen Hurts has turned into y'all gonna have to pay me 200 plus in the next year or two. So man, you want to talk about having a contract and career defining season to just completely change your trajectory. I want to give the Eagles organization a lot of props too because they believed in their quarterback and they immediately went out and got him help. Got him a definitive number one receiver in AJ Brown, paid him a lot of money. You draft a definitive number two receiver in Devontae Smith. They are two great complementary pieces. You have a great tight end in Goddard. You have a slew, a stable of running backs that are interchangeable, and you have probably top two O line, that being them and the Chiefs in football. So you just have a great built team around you that complements what you do great. And quite literally, Jalen Hurts has improved immensely as a passer. So he's a true dual threat. He can kill you with his legs, but he can also kill you with his arms. So, um, man, it's just Patrick Mahomes' time, though, man.
Also, real quick,
he been knocking on the door.
To give the Eagles more praise, you talk about getting him help building through the draft, like Devontae Smith. You know, he's definitely been coming into his own this season, and that's through the draft. So, yeah, Eagles.
Fly,
Eagles fly, right? Oh man,
before we Gilly kid.
Before we get out of here, new head coaching moves that have been made today. You have Sean Payton coming out of retirement, where he was prior the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. Now he just became Now he just became the head coach of the Broncos. But the Texans, they have taken D'Amico Ryans, who was the coordinator with the San Francisco 49ers, defensive coordinator, and now he is the head coach of the Houston Texans. I have some thoughts on D'Amico Ryans. So first, I'll say, does anybody have any take on Sean Payton getting Russell Wilson, and them trying to restore what they thought, what magic restore, just rebuild in general? Because I mean, they get rid of Nathaniel Hackett. I'm not sure if the general manager got fired or not.
I'm mad Nathaniel Hackett got hired so quick with somebody else. Ironically enough, it was the Jets OC job that he got, which is extremely laughable. But one can say
it's a good idea.
For Nathaniel Hackett to be the OC of the Jets.
No. For Sean Payton, to give Russell Wilson Sean Payton,
I think it's a prayer answer.
Yeah, it's something to try. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if it doesn't go well, then we know that it's Russell then. But
I definitely think Nathaniel Hackett is dated. I believe he was not a true leader of men in regards to being a head coach. I think the pressure got to him, and I think he more so assumed that, hey, Russell Wilson will cover a multitude of sins. And what we noticed with the Broncos is they don't really have a great receiving core. They are spotty. They are shaky as hell, as Grove Hero would like to say. They are shaky as hell at best. So I think you getting an offensive genius in Sean Payton will unlock certain things, and he will get the most out of what he has there. And he'll have a vision in regards to the kind of players that he needs within his system that he needs to draft in order to be successful. Because I don't think they've gotten the most out of Ken Hamler yet. I think Jerry Jeudy is much to be desired there. His hands could be more consistent. I think Cortland Sutton could be a great possession receiver. I think he has a lot of talent to work with. It's just more so giving the players hope that, hey, we got a guy now that can see the vision, who can put us in the correct spots to be successful. He's done it before. He's an offensive guru, quarterback whisperer extraordinaire. Great run with Drew Brees. I'm excited to see what he does with Mr. Let's Ride himself.
Let's ride. Darnell, while some of us tend to come and go with flirting of trying to be playing, double dutch in out of being a Texans fan.
Days gone.
How do you feel about the hiring of D'Amico Ryans? As somebody who's never wavered in being a Houston Texans fan.
It's the beginning of a beautiful day. If his impact as a coach is anything like his impact as when he got drafted to the Texans, we're expected for a show. We're expected for a honorable season. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to say too much, but that's how I feel about it. And that's just strictly from more of a fan perspective rather than like a knowing what he's doing, this and that. It's just more of knowing the person that he is, and and just he doesn't care about where he's at. He cares about winning. So as long as he brings that attitude, and everything, I think we should be good.
I love the fact that he's actually led the Texans defense, being the Mike linebacker, and that being your primary position. You're the communicator on defense. You're kind of the quarterback of the defense, and him quite literally being the quarterback of the team now, being the head coach, right? I think it'll bring a very specific attention to the defense. I think that's his calling card. That's his specialty. DC of the Niners, they were number one in almost all defensive ranks this year, number one defense in the league by far. Obviously, the Texans don't have the personnel, but I'm extremely interested to see, because I don't believe it'll happen that first year. I don't believe we'll begin to see ripe fruits of that labor until probably year 2 or year 3. But this draft will definitely be a defining draft for his coaching tenure with the league, or with the Texans rather, because he signed a 6-year deal with us, which means I don't think any Texans head coach has gotten past 3 or 4 years on a contract. So for him to get 6 years, which says he has the full reins of the franchise.
Unfortunately, Bill O'Brien, unfortunately.
Right. But he has literally had the reins to say, hey, we're giving you complete and total control. You draft how you want. You impart your vision onto the team. We go as you go. You lead us. So I'm glad it seems like they're relinquishing all the control over to him. This isn't just hey, we're going to sign you to a 1-year contract, 2-year contract. See what you can do. You better win. You know what I mean? It's more so, hey, we're going to give you some time. You're going to have time and free reign to put your imprint on this team. So I'm excited in that regard. We got 2 high draft picks in the first round. I'm excited to see what the Texans do. From the standpoint of, I live in Houston, and the Houston Texans are in Houston as well. They have not yet won me back over as a fan. You have to do a lot.
I was going to say that double dutch, man.
Nah, because the way they did Deshaun Watson warranted me leaving in dramatic fashion the way they did. So 1,000%. So if you want me back, hiring D'Amico Ryans, a formidable, great black leader that I think he is, that is a step in the right direction. Now, I need us to take several steps, several laps, several miles, rushing into the. And again, I say the word us in regards to him being a black male, him having the same job in the same city in which I live, on a team that I did used to currently root for. I still do say us. But I'm in an emotional state because of how they have treated one of us.
So they should say, we, us.
You a Cowboys fan. Shut up. I don't want to hear nothing from you.
Oh, man. Did you have anything to add, Deja, before I go?
No. I love the hire. I love that they brought it back home. You know what I'm saying? To be able to jolt this franchise. I'm gonna love to hear the trash talking next year.
Yeah, man. So for me, I think that while yes, bringing in somebody, who has played the game of football and who's specifically played for the Houston Texans, that's a great look. I'm not being blindsided by none of that. Me personally, I still feel like this hiring of D'Amico Ryans, to a degree, I know you say he signed a 6-year deal. It appears that Nick Casario is the GM is relinquishing all power decision making to D'Amico Ryans. I personally feel like with this being the third head coach in 3 years, not to mention the third black head coach, I still feel like this hire, to a degree, not to take anything away from the credentials and how much he deserves a job, I feel like this is still a part of a damage control press run for Nick Casario and the Houston Texans organization.
It could be.
Considering how the Deshaun Watson situation went, it's like David Culley. We're not racist. This had nothing to do with racism.
You gotta win it back. You gotta get the niggas dollars back.
Then that season don't go well.
Please.
Lovey Smith, we're gonna get out of here, David. Lovey Smith, Lovey Smith, and it's just like, bro, is this where black head coach's career go to like die before it even start? Granted, Lovey Smith had a career prior, but that was David Culley's first head coaching job, I believe. Now you have D'Amico Ryans getting his first head coaching job. It's just like, yes, right. We want black coaches to get in these roles, and by all means, get in how you fit in, and sometimes we have to take the lesser roles to prove ourselves and so on and so forth. But like, I still feel like this is like a PR move and them trying to restore the image of the Houston Texans organization and how it treated Deshaun Watson, so to speak, or how it appeared that they conspired against Deshaun Watson to put him in the situation that he was in. And so I'm happy for D'Amico Ryans, but I'm not excited for the Texans for his opportunity, but I'm not excited for the Texans organization in no way, because I feel like it's rooted in that, like I say, that PR image repairing. And who's to say
like they're trying to save face?
They trying to save face. And yeah, okay, he signed a 6-year, how many of amounts of dollars, but we just seen what happened with what's his name from the Cardinals. They told him go and we'll pay you throughout the year. So who's to say the Texans don't have another horrible year? They don't just up and do the same thing to D'Amico Ryans. Don't want to speak that into existence for you, dog, but I'm not at a place where I could trust the Texans to feel like D'Amico Ryans is going to be around for quite some time. This is the third head coach in 3 years, and like, so who is supposed to be the voice? How are players going to like begin to ascend and develop and turn into dogs and Pro Bowlers if like, oh, we got a new system this year?
Right, there's no continuity.
There's no continuity. Oh, I think I got it. I'm getting my we got a new head coach, new system. Okay, all right. I think I got it. All right. So I just came into the league. I was a rookie 3 years ago. I'm supposed to be at this position. This coach wants me at this position. It's just like, forget head coach's career is going to die there with the Houston Texans. Let's talk about the players that's probably not even properly being fully developed. You know what I'm saying? So.
So let's hope that they're turning over a new leaf, because that's what it seems like that they're doing, but we don't know for sure up until the coming years, really. So we kind of got to monitor them day to day and annually, because they are in the hot seat, not only when it comes to players and production, but also when it comes to politics and exposure. So we just gotta watch them, bro. Hopefully they can get it together.
Yeah, man. We'll see, Texans. I don't trust y'all yet. Don't trust y'all yet at all, man. But beautiful people, what you just listened to is what you call a great episode, man. Thank y'all for tuning in, listening. We do not take y'all for granted. Be mindful that you could watch the video portion, a video format on YouTube as well as on Spotify, but anywhere else, if you want to just listen to us via audio, any other streaming or podcasting platform out there, you'll be able to find us, Google Podcasts, so on and so forth. Love you, beautiful people. Do not take you listening to us for granted, and we will see you next week leading up to Super Bowl Sunday, baby.